Right friends, welcome back to Insight for 13th week. First issue, 8 core sector industries grew 5.7% in February 2016, a 15-month high. Combined index stands at 172.2 in February 2016. Base year for this core sector index is 2004-5 with index 100. What do you understand by this? This core sector industries, there are 8 core sector industries and they constitute total 38% in index of industrial production. In total industrial production, these 8 core industries constitute total 38%. And there are certain indices released by various agencies in our country. This Office of Economic Advisor under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry releases index of 8 core industries as well as wholesale price index. At the same time, Central Statistics Office under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation releases Consumer Price Index, Index of Industrial Production and GDP figures. So please clarify yourself, this core industries index is released by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and whereas IIP is released by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. And having learnt this, you may ask, what are the 8 core industries? Not only 8 core industries, their weightages are also very important. This is the weightage in total index of industrial production. I have already told you they constitute, that means these 8 core industries constitute 38% in IIP, and the segregation is electricity has got the highest weightage at 10.32%. So if someone asks which has got highest weightage, that is electricity with 10.32%, followed by steel with 6.68%. Then comes refinery products at 5.94, crude oil at 5.22, coal at 4.38, then cement at 2.41, then natural gas at 1.71, and the last is fertilizers. Fertilizers constitute the least with 1.25%. So electricity the highest, then comes steel the second highest, but the last one is fertilizers with 1.25%, and these all put together will constitute 38% of index of industrial production. Don't forget these things. Nepal said that India, European Union joint statement hurt people's sentiments in Nepal. Recently, our Prime Minister participated in 13th India-EU summit, and after the summit, joint statement was issued, and in the joint statement, it was stated that India and European Union agreed on the need for a lasting and inclusive constitutional settlement in Nepal. The meaning of this is the constitution of Nepal is not inclusive. When India, European Union felt that there is a need for inclusive constitutional settlement, it indirectly tells that the interests or aspirations of Madhesis have not taken care of. So under these circumstances, Nepal's reaction is the joint statement indicating inclusive constitutional settlement is uncalled for, that means not necessary, and hurt people's sentiments. Already the relations between India and Nepal strained, and Nepal is showing signs of tilt towards China, and it appears that this type of joint statements will further strain relations between India and Nepal. Right? Looking to the third issue, MCLR implemented from 1st April 2016, it replaced base rate in the banking system. And here, if you go back to history, benchmark prime lending rate came into existence in 2003. It was shelved in 2010 as it was felt that it was non-transparent, and because of the issues related to corruption and non-transparency, that was shelved in 2010. Subsequently, base rate was brought on 1st July 2010. Except some exceptions, no loan should be granted below base rate. So, It is there in existence for the past 6 years, almost 6 years, and now it is shelved. The reason for shelving base rate is it was felt that monetary transmission was not taking place. We will come to it a little later what is meant by monetary transmission. And now MCLR is marginal cost of funds based lending rate, and it came into effect from 1st April 2016, and here the cost of funds is based on marginal costs, and it is felt that monetary transmission will be better with MCLR. Before going further, you should have clear understanding about cost of funds. In the banking system, cost of funds means average interest rates on the deposits. Banks operate with deposits and loans. The main business of banking system is deposits and loans. Average cost of deposits is cost of funds, and average income banks will get on loans. That means average of the interest rates on loans is yield, and the difference between yield and this cost of funds is net interest margin. And for profitable banking operations, net interest margin should be more than or around 3%. And some of the banks like HDFC, ICICI, Axis, they enjoy net interest margin of around 3%. And some of the public sector banks like Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda, Bank of India, they are not able to get 3% net interest margin, and several public sector banks are working with net interest margin of around 2.2%, 2.3%, 2.5%. So, for efficient banking operations, net interest margin required is around 3%. So, these terms please don't forget: cost of funds, yield, net interest margin, and base rate. Now, base rate is replaced by marginal cost of funds based lending rate. Right. So, what is the basic difference between base rate and MCLR? Base rate, the calculation is based on the average of the interest rates on deposits. Some deposits may pertain to 2 years ago, some deposits may pertain to 5 years ago, and some new deposits may be there, and average of these deposits is taken before arriving at the base rate. And in the marginal cost of funds based lending rate, what the banks will do? Banks will take the average of recent deposits. So, basically base rate calculates the average interest on all the deposits, and marginal cost of funds based lending rate calculates the interest rates on the recent deposits. And the primary differences I have given here: base rate takes into account average cost of funds, that is the average interest rates offered on all the deposits, and MCLR calculates marginal cost of funds, that is the latest interest rates offered on deposits. And if you look at base rate, it is the single rate for any duration of loan, and all the loans will be tagged to that base rate. That means base rate plus something, base rate plus something. If you are taking home loan, it is very close to base rate. The difference between the interest rate offered by the bank and base rate is known as the spread. Banks will give loans by taking some spread over base rate and now some spread over MCLR, right? So, base rate is single rate for any duration of loan, and MCLR is published every month for at least 5 maturities. That is overnight, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months and 1 year, and loans are benchmarked against a particular MCLR. So, this is the basic difference between base rate and MCLR. If you look at other differences, in base rate it was felt that monetary transmission was not taking place. What is monetary transmission? When Reserve Bank of India is reducing the repo rate, then banks will reduce their interest rates. Banks, to reduce interest rates, have to reduce deposit rates. Even after reducing deposit rates, Banks are not able to reduce interests on loans because of the reason base rate is based on average value of the interests on deposits, or you can say average cost of funds. But in MCLR, monetary transmission will be better because banks will calculate marginal cost of deposits. That means they will take the average of recent deposits only. They do not look at legacy deposits. Suppose 5 years fixed deposit was given some 3 years back at 10% interest, they will not consider that. If they are giving that 5-year fixed deposit today at 7.5% interest, they will consider 7.5% as the interest. They do not go into, or they do not look at the legacy deposits. So that is the major difference. Then another important point is, due to the single base rate, short-term loans are not coming to the banking system, because all of you are well aware, large companies with good credit ratings can borrow from market by issuing commercial paper. Their interest rates on commercial paper are less than bank interest rates. That's why short-term loans of corporates is not coming into the banking system. And now it is hoped with the establishment of marginal cost of funds based lending rate, this corporates may also come to the banking system for taking short-term loans. So these are the major differences between base rate and MCLR. So this MCLR came into force from 1st April 2016. Look into the last one. Government allows 100% FDI in marketplace model of e-commerce. This ends the scope for misinterpretation and policy confusion in this domain. Before that, please understand the difference between e-commerce and brick and mortar stores. What is meant by e-commerce? All of you are well aware, at the click of a button, you can get the things either through Flipkart or Snapdeal or Amazon. That is e-commerce. Brick and mortar stores example, you can see in this picture, this Reliance Mart, Big Bazaar. These are all examples of brick and mortar stores because you have to go to the shop physically to get the things. And people are talking about mom and pop stores. What is the meaning of mom and pop stores? Because nowadays people are fearing about the future of mom and pop stores. With the advent of e-commerce, mom and pop stores are the stores at the street corner. Everywhere you will find this type of small stores. These are called mom and pop stores. Let us come back to the discussion. What is the meaning of marketplace model? And in the sentence it was stated that government allows 100% FDI in marketplace model of e-commerce. There are two models in e-commerce. The two models are this marketplace model. What is the marketplace model? Marketplace model basically is the platform where the consumers or customers directly link to the sellers. Here, if you want to purchase the Samsung TV, then this marketplace model will act as a platform, or you can say act as a link between sellers and buyers. Here the platform do not maintain inventory. Here directly sellers and buyers will be linked and the goods will be delivered. So this is the marketplace model. And you may ask, what is the inventory model? Inventory model is the model where the company owning the website holds the inventory of the goods it sells. A big godown will be there and all these goods will be held as inventory, and this web-based platform will sell these products by storing them in a godown. So the two models are marketplace model and inventory model. And government allowed 100% FDI in marketplace model, not in inventory model. And two controversial issues after allowing 100% FDI in marketplace model. The first one is restriction of sales of any particular vendor to only 25% of the sales. That means in this marketplace model, government put a restriction where 100% FDI is allowed, that restriction of sales of any particular vendor up to only 25%. This may have its effect if the vendor sells high value items. It may affect only few companies. The second one is asking online retailers to stay away from directly or indirectly influencing the sale price of goods. That means it loses pricing freedom of e-commerce companies with FDI. The companies cannot influence the sale price. That means giving huge discounts may not be possible, and it vitiates the level playing field of domestic companies versus the companies with FDI, and ultimately customer will be at loss, and it also stifles innovation and growth. So these two are the controversial issues. Other than that, now policy clarity is there. 100% FDI is allowed in e-commerce firms with the marketplace model. Right friends, with this let us conclude the insight. Please do join for other modules. Have a nice day. Thank you.